What is up, guys? So Sports back again with another video, and in today's video we have yet again another What's Next. And in today's What's Next, we're going to be discussing the Oklahoma City Thunder. Now, the Oklahoma City Thunder haven't been able to put it together, so to say, since Kevin Durant has left, losing in the first round 3 straight times. Just looking at the 3 times they lost, the first year, I guess you could say, we can put that to the side. Maybe they had an excuse as it was the first year without Kevin Durant. You could say Russell Westbrook was all by himself. You know, Victor Oladipo wasn't really that much of a help. He definitely wasn't the player that he is now. But I mean, losing in what they lose in 5 to the Rockets isn't great. But moving on to the next year, I think the next year is a year where you say, we have to start putting the blame on them. You know, but I guess there's another excuse you could say. You know, they had Carmelo Anthony as a scapegoat. But, you know, what was it? At this point, it'd be last year. They had lost to Utah Jazz, I believe, in 5 also. Or was it in 6? One or the other. But still, losing to the Utah Jazz, who their best player was a rookie shooting guard. That just isn't great. It isn't great at all. But, you know, Russell Westbrook played horrible. Paul George played horrible. Melo played horrible. But still, there were still excuses as, you know, maybe it was the fit wasn't there. It was PG's first year, so maybe they were still getting the chemistry down. Carmelo Anthony was seen as a scapegoat, so it wasn't talked about as much. But this past year, it's all on them, 100%. Starting off the season, they started it off hot. Well, they did start off hot. They started off the season poorly when Russell Westbrook was injured with, I think he had a hand injury. And then he came back, and then they sort of put it all together. They, at one point, were the 3rd seed in the West, and then fell apart heavily when Paul George had his shoulder injury. And Paul George was having an amazing season. He was averaging around 28, 8 and 4, amazing numbers. The best season by far of his career. All NBA first team, was an MVP candidate. But, I mean, it all went down after that shoulder injury. And, you know, it's tough to see, but still, you know, only catching 1 game against the Portland Trailblazers, yeah, that's such a disappointment. 3 straight years, you know, hasn't got it out of the first round. We need to talk about it. So, looking at their key players, I just touched base on Paul George. Paul George is an amazing player. You know, just had his best season as an NBA player, which is great to see. Defensive Player of the Year candidate. He was all NBA first team. I'm pretty sure he did make an all-defensive team too. Just an all-around great player. It's sad maybe that shoulder injury did hamper him heavily. You could say, like, what would happen if he didn't have that shoulder injury? They probably would they have given the Warriors troubles? Maybe. But continue on. Second player I wanted to talk about is Russell Westbrook. Now, for me, Russell Westbrook is a weird player, you know, because sometimes I say he's extremely overrated, but sometimes I think the criticism that he receives is just unwarranted. If you think about it, he's the entire state of Oklahoma. That is what, like, he has them all on his back. He's loyal. He's been there for his whole career. And, I mean, what he's doing in the NBA is fantastic. I mean, talk about averaging a triple-double for 3 straight seasons. That has never been done before, you know, and at least I don't believe it's ever been done before. But it's just great to see. He's a great player. You know, he's a great player. The scrutiny that he gets, I think some of it is deserved because of how he plays. Because the way he plays is not winning basketball. He's a high usage guy who's super inefficient. That's not good. Is he a stat padder? Maybe you could say so. I don't think so, really, because how can someone stat pad triple doubles? You know, if the word stat pad is so dumb, first off, because if people were able to stat pad, everybody would be able to stat pad. You don't see guys like Aaron Baines or like guys like Lance Stevenson stat padding, averaging triple doubles and 50-point games every game. You don't see that. So stat padding, that's not a real thing. You know, you can't really stat pad. You know, but for Russ, what he's doing, we're witnessing greatness, you know? 3 straight seasons of a triple-double, and people are saying he's overrated. He's a stat padder. Come on, guys. Like, that's just childish. You got to see the bright side of things and not, you know, the lowlights. But speaking of that, though, I think he does have to change. For them to win, he does have to change. He doesn't really have a shot. He can't shoot. Like I said, he's a high-usage guy, you know? He was able to, I guess you could say, make Paul George the first option, but still, when he gets that tunnel vision late in games, when he just starts chucking up deep, stupid threes, it's not a recipe for success. And lastly, I just wanted to touch base on Steven Adams. I think Steven Adams is highly overrated. He's not good. I mean, he's not bad. He just isn't good. I don't think he fits this team, though. So I'm gonna talk about him more in the later topic. But looking at their young guys, there's 3 young guys that I really want to talk about. I'm gonna butcher his name again. Jermaine Grant. He's a great 6'9" power forward. Really had a great season this year. I think he averaged around 13 and 6. Very versatile. And that's a theme on this team. They have a lot of versatility and not a lot of shooting. But yeah, he's a great player. Next guy I want to talk about is Terrence Ferguson. Terrence Ferguson, again, another guy who's highly versatile. He's extremely athletic. He's around 6'8", great young player. And lastly, Hamidou Diallo. And you guessed it, he's highly athletic, great versatility, young player. And that's the theme on this team. Besides Russell Westbrook, Paul George, and Steven Adams, they have a lot of guys who are young, versatile, and athletic. And obviously it isn't working. So lastly, I want to just talk about it quickly. Andre Roberson, he was out all year, and he was a big part of their success. I think in the Carmelo Anthony season, great defensively. He had I think he injured his back or his hand, one or the other, late in that season, so that kind of hampered them. But I mean, still, they should have been able to win without him. Excuse me. But now I just want to move on to the draft. This draft, their pick is 21st, I believe. But there's really only one player that I want them to take, and that's Tyler Herro. Talk about a guy who can shoot the ball. He's just great all around. Tyler Herro is what, 6'5", I want to say, 6'5"-ish. He can do everything, really. Talk about a guy out of Kentucky, 6'5". I was right. He's only 19. A great basketball player. If you think about it, he led the Kentucky Wildcats. Did he lead them far? I don't know how far they went this year. But a guy who averaged 14 points per game, 5 rebounds, 3 assists, shot 36% from 3 and 94% from the free throw line, which is great. He actually went to the Elite 8 this year. Unfortunately, they lost to Auburn, 77-71 in OT, and he had a poor game. But I think he'd be a great fit for this team. Yeah, that's the one player that I really want them to draft. I think he'd be great to their success. He just adds to their team. Another young player, but hopefully a guy who could shoot. And that's really all this team needs is shooters. So I just wanted to talk about some guys that they can look at in free agency, because they're stripped. They're tight on money. They don't have any cash to spend. They don't have any flexibility, nothing like that, unless they're making some trades. But who's gonna trade them? Who would you trade with them? Now, there was one trade package I just want to talk about really quickly. There was one trade package that I saw somebody talk about. I don't know how the truth to it, but I mean, it was, I believe, Kevin Love and J.R. Smith to the Thunder for Steven Adams, Andre Roberson, and the 21st pick. Now, as a Cavs fan that I am, I would 100% do this, but I feel like this trade is really unfair. So that's all I really want to talk about, though. But if you think about it, a team of Russell Westbrook, Paul George, and you have Kevin Love as a shooter, and then maybe get another big man, that'd be a good team, good recipe for success. But I just want to talk about a few guys that they can maybe look at, depending on how much money they have, if they make some trades to clear some cap. One guy that I think would fit this team well, Danny Green. Talk about a guy who's in the NBA Finals right now. Averaged 9 points per game this year. He started off slow, but he's picked it up. My only concern with him is he's kind of inconsistent. One game he probably have like 18. Next game he'd have like 6. I think was it game 3 or game 4? I want to say game 3. He had 18 points. That's when the Raptors played perfect. Next game I think he was 1 for 7, 1 for 8 or something like that. So he's kind of he's kind of inconsistent. But I mean, talk about a great 3-and-D player. He's the definition of 3-and-D. He's been in the league a long time. He's a veteran. He knows the game, and he wouldn't maybe choke or have mental problems in the playoffs like maybe these young guys like Hamidou Diallo and Terrence Ferguson and Jermaine Grant would have, because he's been there multiple times. So he'd be a great addition to this team. Another guy maybe that this team could look at, Lance Stevenson. I know it's kind of weird, Lance Stevenson. He can maybe be a backup guard for them if they would want to trade Dennis Schroeder in his huge contract. I think he could give you what Dennis Schroeder gives you with a little bit more shooting, more defense. And, I think he'd be great. Also, you could look at CJ Miles, but he has a player option. I don't know if he'll decline that. You could look at Al-Farouq Aminu maybe, but then again, that's another versatile guy who can't shoot, so maybe not. But I mean, just guys like that, really just low budget free agents. That's all they can really look at because they're just so tight, and they don't have any cap space at all, unless you're making some trades. But still, it's like they're just stripped. I mean, Marcus Morris maybe. I don't know if he wanted to sign there. They had Markieff Morris, I believe, but still, all these guys are like. Trevor Ariza would be a great pickup for him, but I don't know if he'd sign for cheap. KCP. There's some good options out there. Hopefully they can go out and sign a couple low budget free agents that'll come in and be good for them. Wayne Ellington is another one who had a great kind of second half with the Pistons. He averaged around 12 points per game, shot well. But I don't know. I don't want to say this team is stuck right now, but this team is in a hole, and I just hope they get out of it. They just have so much talent. Excuse me. They're really top heavy though. They need more shooting, a lot more shooting, and if they're able to do that, I think it'd be great for this team. I think they can. Then I don't know if they can contend for a title, but they can definitely push some teams to 7. They could definitely at least make the Western Conference Finals if everyone is healthy. But yeah, that's gonna do it for this video though, guys. I hope you guys did enjoy. It's So Sports, and I'm out. Peace.